American citizens from Washington took to the court demanding a ban on homeless individuals sleeping outside. If sanctioned, it would mean a total ban on over 6,53,100 homeless individuals sleeping outside in America. On one hand, some argue it's a public safety concern, and on the other, critics say it criminalizes homelessness. The larger question, can a free country, a democracy, ban citizens from sleeping outside in their own country?
Some people have no choice but to sleep on a bench at a public park with a blanket, and this city has decided to make that a crime and arrest people for that human act.
The issue recently reached the US Supreme Court. They are considering whether cities can enforce bans when there aren't enough shelter beds available. About 100 homeless rights advocates protested outside the US Supreme Court as arguments began in the courtroom.
I stayed in jail a while I got out. My problem that they claim is I was in prison, so every time I file for an application for housing, you have to wait. We have to do a background check.
The court's ruling could change the game for America's homeless population. The case revolves around regulations implemented in Grants Pass, Oregon. Grants Pass, Oregon passed laws to stop people from camping or using bedding in public parks because the parks were becoming filled with tents and makeshift shelters. If you break this rule, you could get fined or even jailed if you're a serial offender. Grants Pass, with a population of roughly 40,000, does not have a municipal homeless shelter and instead relies on private charities. Many cities struggle with growing homeless populations. Some argue these encampments can become unsanitary and unsafe. City officials say bans are necessary to maintain public health. Crowded encampments can lack proper sanitation, potentially leading to health risks. There are concerns including increased crime and drug use near encampments. Some argue tents and belongings on sidewalks create an undesirable image for the city.
The problem is that a policy as extreme as the one that Grants Pass in Oregon has passed is that it criminalizes the fact of being poor.
Southern Poverty Law Center homeless advocates argue it's cruel and unusual punishment, a violation of the 8th Amendment of the US Constitution, but the city says it's about public order. This comes particularly when there are no alternative sleeping options available. Economists argue that a shortage of affordable housing is another major factor contributing to homelessness, alongside poverty, drug addiction, and a lack of shelter beds. The country's market rate housing stock is significantly below target, leaving the United States millions of homes short of what's needed. This shortage is driving up prices for existing housing, making it even harder for low-income individuals and families to find a place to live.
We are worried about that, but we are hopeful that the court will make the right decision and validate this policy, and that we can have our government focus on solutions like affordable housing and not criminalization.
Justice Elena Kagan brought up a crucial point during the hearing, saying sleeping is a biological necessity and criminalizing it for those with nowhere else to go is like criminalizing breathing. The Supreme Court's decision is expected by June and could have major implications. Will cities have the power to enforce these bans, or will they be deemed unconstitutional? We'll have to wait and see.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today Newsmo.